I would consider Hell Let Loose and Squad to be the top tier of large scale tactical or hardcore shooters, but there also isn't really a lot of competition in this space. We have games like Postscriptum, but that hasn't gone too well, and the dev team recently all got fired. Beyond the Wire isn't doing really anything, and there's also not a lot on the horizon in this sort of genre of shooters. But there is one which has a lot of potential, and this one is set in Vietnam, and it's called Burning Lands. I will be covering the development of Burning Lands with their development updates. I will be kickstarting the game when the Kickstarter goes live, getting alpha access, and if there's no NDA around publishing alpha footage, then I will be putting that onto the channel and giving you guys my impressions of what the game is currently like. So if you want to stay up to date on Burning Lands development and what the gameplay is going to actually be like, subscribe to the channel. Now, Burning Lands describes itself as an accessible, tactical simulation that strikes the best possible balance between realism and accessibility, which is something I believe that Hell Let Loose does extremely well. It's quite easy to pick up, but there's a lot of extra depth to the game, but ultimately it's something you can just jump into and have a good game. So, what is Burning Lands all about? Well, they're aiming to feature 120 player games which will be split into two teams of 60 players. They may not hit that goal of 120 players, but they are going to have a minimum of 80 players, which will be, two teams of 40. And like other games in this genre, there's going to be squads led by a commander, but these squads will be infantry, logistics, and armor squads. The roles you'll get in this game will be the commander. There's going to be various squad leader roles, such as the crewman squad leader, a pilot squad leader, infantry squad leader, and an engineer squad leader. Something called sustainment roles. These will be the pack mule, radio man, and the medic. And the sustainment roles are pretty much roles that are aimed to support the squad with healing, ammo, and supplies. There'll be specialist roles such as the grenadier, sniper, marksman, pilot, breacher, crewman, anti-armor, anti-air, MG, sapper, and tunneler. And I guess these will be limited to one per squad, and possibly limits per team, such as how Hell Let Loose, you can only have 2 snipers per team. I don't think every squad will be able to get a sniper in Burning Lands. But you'll also have 2 basic roles, rifleman and recruit, which I guess these will probably be like unlimited roles, so you can have just a squad full of riflemen if you want. And recruits, well, I'm not too sure what they are. I'm guessing they will be people who can play the game without joining the squad. If you play Hell Let Loose, then you probably know there's a lot of discussions that go on regarding the medic class in the game, because really some people don't like medics and think they're not needed, while other people like medics and like having them around. Now, medics in Burning Lands are going to be aiming to serve a real purpose in the game, and the squad will actually need them. There will be insta-deaths for headshots and gibbed kills like explosions, but you can still get downed in the traditional sense by gunshots. And they're going to have a bit of a different medic system to other games. Now, when you get shot, of course, you'll start bleeding. If you don't apply a bandage, which any class can do, you'll get incapacitated. When incapacitated, you've got to have a bandage applied to you to essentially revive you, and again, any class can do that. But to fully heal you up, a medic must use an IV bag. So when a player gets revived, the player will have 5 to 10% health, will have reduced movement and desaturated vision, which means it'll be like more black and white. If the revived player has any damage done to them within 60 seconds of being revived, they will be outright killed. If they survive 60 seconds, their health will start to improve to around 30%. Their movement will improve as well as their vision. But if any further damage is done to them, then they'll go back down to an incapacitated state. But if a medic uses an IV bag, that will then heal them to full health. Now, this is like a work in progress thing. It may change when the game releases, it may not, but it's something a little bit different, and it means that revived players do take a little bit longer to get fully healed up. But I wonder if this medic system is a bit too punishing to the revived guys, and it might just encourage people just redeploying instead. But that will be punished because the game will have a ticket system. So when you die, you're going to lose a ticket. When your team gets to 0 tickets, you're going to lose the game. But I also think that the casual player just might not care. The pack mule is kind of like the support role from Hell Let Loose, where they can bring supplies to the front line to help out the squad, help with ammo, help with medical supplies, but they can also steal supplies from other enemy supply depots. So they don't have to go back to like the HQ or a friendly depot to actually replenish their own supplies. The Radio Man is a unique role to Burning Lands. They are the ones who call in fire missions for the squad leader. The squad leader has to approve them, then the commander ultimately chooses to approve or deny them. Their other main purpose is to pretty much counteract a fog of war that affects the map. Not like the in-game map where you actually look from first person. There's no fog that will just be randomly appearing. It's when you open up your map screen. If the Radio Man isn't within a certain radius of the squad leader, then all other friendly positions are hidden. But if the Radio Man is within the squad leader, then you can actually see where other friendlies are. But also a squad member needs to be within a certain radius of that Radio Man as well. So this pretty much like forces squads to stick together, otherwise they may end up accidentally like team killing people. It's going to be interesting to see how that role affects each game. I think the core community of Burning Lands will adapt quite quickly to this, knowing that they need a Radio Man in their squad and that they need to stick together. But I think the casual players will be affected quite badly because they may not stick together as often. Now, the general gameplay that Burning Lands is going for is a sort of mix of squad and Hell Let Loose, is what they describe, as well as the map size being that sort of same size of like squad and Hell Let Loose. But they are doing their own thing, and they're not going to be using another game as just a template, which definitely needs to be noted because the devs of Burning Lands, 0 Hour Interactive, created the Australian faction DLC for Squad. Now, because of the ties they have to Squad, some people may think they'll be using the OWI core framework that Squad is built from, and that Postscriptum and Beyond the Wire have been built from that OWI core framework as well. But Postscriptum and Beyond the Wire, like I said earlier, really they haven't done well, with Postscriptum having a player base which is gradually falling off and no devs anymore, and the Beyond the Wire player base mean it struggles to even get 10 players on at once. So what 0 Hour Interactive have done is build something from the ground up. They initially was building it on Unreal Engine 4, but they've ported that now to Unreal Engine 5. So it's probably going to be the first large-scale sort of tactical hardcore shooter we're going to have on Unreal Engine 5. The game's going to feature gore and dismemberment. There's going to be controllable boats, helicopters, and helicopters will be able to sling load stuff, which is where they pretty much grab things up on, it's not a rope, but like a rope or something, and carry it across the map. And you can also steal enemy equipment using the same feature. Hell Let Loose players will be thankful that the game's actually going to have swimming, so no more drowning in rivers when you decide to just step foot into one. It's also going to have joystick support for you helicopter pilots and track IR support. Unfortunately, planes will not be controllable, but they will be in the game as commander call-ins. The factions we're going to have on release are the US Army and the PAVN, the People's Army of Vietnam. But planned for future release, we have the Australians, the NLF, the National Liberation Front, or the Viet Cong you could call them, and the US Marines. There's going to be a whole bunch of vehicles in the game. Just to name a few, you're going to have the Huey, Chinook, Cobra, M48 tank, the PT-76, the GAZ, the BTR-152, a PBR, many more, and weapons, your normal Vietnam staples like the M16, M14, M21, AK-47, SVD, RPD, and Mosin M60, Claymores, RPGs, flamethrowers, and yes, many more. I mentioned earlier that yes, the game will be going to Kickstarter. It's not live yet at the time of recording this video, but when it does go live, I will let people know. It's also on Steam. You can't purchase it yet, but you can at least add it to your wish list. I'll put links for both of those in the description below. The only main concern I have with Burning Lands right now is that we don't have any like real gameplay footage to show, so we can actually get a good idea of how it plays. But with the Kickstarter hopefully launching soon, we should be getting that gameplay footage. And I will be kickstarting the game, so if you want to stay up to date on the development of Burning Lands and getting a look at some gameplay, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about the game or what you would like to actually see in it. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel, become a member or check out my Patreon, and I'll see you on the next one.